out of quarantine and isolation today in his media conference. A fair bit of that impacted sport as well.
We have agreed to a set of arrangements that will allow training for AFL, for rugby league, for other professional sports to resume from just before midnight tomorrow night. Training resuming paves the way for footy to be back.
So, Cara, you would think that this now knocks the talk of Victoria bias on the head, because Daniel Andrews is allowing the 10 Victorian clubs to train as of Wednesday, but the AFL have clarified the situation this evening. Until everyone's allowed to do the same thing and we're all allowed to train, they'll be holding off until players can just train in groups of 2 as it is currently.
That's right, and over the next few days, the clubs will have a hook-up tomorrow at 4 o'clock. We thought we might get a return to play and train date today. I'm still thinking June 18 is when we will see our first game of AFL footy.
OK, because June 11 was being reported across the weekend.
And it's still being reported, and that is what the AFL would love. It's a battle between the AFL and the coaches at the moment. Matthew, the coaches reckon that the AFL are more worried about players getting COVID than they are about players getting injured. And the coaches are really worried about the injuries as much as anything else. Even though players are working hard, coaches really think that 4 weeks is a better amount of time. And all the players are now going to be tested. Staff are going to be tested. They'll all do tests over the next few days. The hookup, as I said, I just want to briefly touch on the Victorian bias. Don't you find it extraordinary that the West Australian players from next Monday won't all be able to train because they didn't get back in time? And some South Australians.
Yeah, it's a point that would surprise us. And Cornsey, you're nodding your head there. Who's it on there?
The players, the clubs and the players. I'm surprised, Caro, that the players wouldn't have come back extra cautiously a week before you would have to. I mean, they've had 8-9 weeks off at home. Get back with any chance that you can come. So now we're splitting hairs. It's going to be a day or 2 here and there. It's not going to make much of a difference. But as a player, wouldn't you have just loved to have been ready to go? As soon as the restrictions are lifted, I'm ready to go now.
Kane, that would be on the club, would it not? Not
and the players. Like, I just think
ultimately they're the employer.
You're a professional athlete. Get back in time. You know the rules. Get back. It's like the Crows players know the rules. The other players, to a certain extent, know the rules. Take responsibility of your career and get back in time.
A major piece of the return to play puzzle is the media negotiation that the AFL is doing at the moment with Fox Footy and Channel 7. You know, I've spoken about this a lot this year on the show. I'm still convinced that there's a 2-year extension coming. I would not be surprised if we don't get news of something this week.
This week?
This week.
OK, so it's been done then?
Well, the negotiation is going on and it's going well. And I'm not saying it's going to be this week, but my view is it could, and certainly by the time the players return to play in June, I think there will be a new media agreement. Gillon McLachlan never does one deal. He wants to do the whole deal, and I think that what will happen is the decision at the moment is, do we spread the pain, because obviously they're going to take less money this year, less games, less time, etc., longer breaks, 16-minute quarters, games without crowds. Seven and Fox Footy are saying the TV won't be as good. I don't think there will be at this stage a night grand final or a twilight grand final. I think there is a push from the AFL to keep it in the afternoon. So much tradition has been gone from this year. But I think that we're looking at 15 to 20% cut across the 5 years, because I think the media deal will end now in 2024, and that the AFL will keep its current broadcast partners, but the money will be less, and I'm thinking 15 to 20% less.
So, Cara, that's a significant story on a couple of fronts. One would be that Channel 9 would be watching with one eye what's happening with the AFL, because their deal with the NRL runs out at the same time, the end of 2022, and you would think that the AFL ideally, and I know it's not ideal timing, but would like to create competitive tension in the market and maybe get another free-to-air broadcaster on board, or at least in the negotiations, in the auction. And the other front is that the players. Paul Marsh and the Players Association will be interested in that news, because they would potentially have a new TV deal without having a players' CBA, which expires at the same time.
I think the AFL has spoken to the players about renegotiating the CBA already. I think the players' view about 3 or 4 weeks ago was, let's just get the return to play sorted first. Let's just get the game back on first. But there is all sorts of negotiations going on at the moment. Extra numbers on the interchange bench, return to play, the CBA. there could be... Gillan McLaughlin, as I said on 9 News earlier tonight, is juggling a lot of balls. I have faith that he'll get this 2-year extension, and that will be, although less money for the game, a huge relief for the game as clubs are waiting to find out how many of their staff they can bring back.